What is up, Teach Better family? I am Jeff. This is my friend Sam from across the pond, actually, today. We're going international today on your Teach Better Today morning show. We are live every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to get into talking about a bunch of stuff. Sam is an author, so I'm going to ask her about her books. We're going to talk about maybe some exercises that you can do around acting that help with creative writing. We're going to have some fun just probably talking about our difference in the way that we speak in our cultures and whatever else Jeff can think of this morning. So stick with us. Go grab you a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, whatever you need this morning. Drop in the comments. Let us know where you're from, where you're watching from. We'll be back in about 28 seconds. Good morning. Good morning. We're back. Sam, how are you this morning? Oh, wait a minute.
I'm good,
It
thank you.
is not morning, though, is it?
It's not. I've had my third cup of coffee because it's mid-afternoon.
It's the afternoon. Okay, so Sam's coming from to us a little bit. You said south of London, correct?
Well, I'm from just south of London, an hour
Okay.
and a half south of
Oh, but
London.
I didn't actually ask you where you're at right now. I asked you where you're from. That's two different questions.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm
Tricky.
from Oxford, which is about an hour and
Okay.
a half from
Hmm.
London, where they like film lots of the Harry Potter and stuff.
Yes.
Um, but I live in southwest France, and I've been
Oh,
here
so you
for
live in
7 or
France.
8 years.
Wow. Okay. So that's fun. So how far is that from home?
Well, I can get a plane and it will take an hour, or I
Okay.
can drive and it will take 15, which
Okay.
is not so
That's
fun.
No, I would do the plane,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, it's awesome to get connected with you and chat with you. And I want to get right into it because one of our favorite parts of this show is that we have a lot of guests join us. Typically, at least typically 3 of the days every week we have guests. And sometimes they're guests that have been connected to our community for a long time, and sometimes they're newer guests. And I think you are someone that a lot of folks that might not be connected to yet. So I'm excited for all of our friends to get to know our new friend Sam and here and stuff. So can you take a minute now and just kind of give us the who is Sam? So your background, what you do now, what you've done, whatever you think is important. But let's just sort of introduce you to our audience real quick.
Okay, hello. Thank you so much for having me. So yeah, I'm Sam and I'm from the UK, and I've loved drama ever since I was about 5 years old. When I was about 7, I was diagnosed with dyslexia, and like I was terrible at reading and writing and couldn't really do it until I was about 14. But drama was my thing. So I loved kind of improvising, making stories, making up stories, drawing stories. And now I'm an adult, I like writing stories. And I've kind of overcome the dyslexia although I feel sorry for my copy editor. Um, and yeah, I write fiction. So I write kind of young adult fiction, which I'm just kind of getting into, and drama teaching resources. I was a full-time drama teacher in the UK for about 12 years. And I was a freelancer, so I'd go into lots of different schools and teach drama. So I'd do after-school drama clubs, or I'd be commissioned to go in and direct their school production. And I'd do youth theatres, and then I'd do weekend theatre schools. And I did it in London for about 8 years with a huge, diverse range of students. And then I did it out of London for about 4 years full time. And then I moved to Southwest France. And now I just teach a little bit. I teach like about 3 hours a week, and a mum, and write as well. So yeah.
So yeah, I had to look up because I saw on your profile it's YA, and I'm like, what is YA fiction? Young adult fiction. So I learned something today. So that's awesome. How many? I know I see just on your profile a couple books. How many books have you written at this point?
I've lost count. Uh,
That's a lot. Okay. That's what I thought it was probably. Because I saw one picture that was like just recently a new book, and then it was like only like 8 weeks ago another book. And I'm like, how many books have you written? You
yeah.
don't know?
Well, my first one was fiction, and that went viral on Wattpad. And I've just finished my second fiction, which I have an agent for, and she's trying to sell it. So I've done two
Okay.
novels. And then drama teaching, my first one was in 2019, which is 100 acting exercises for 8 to 18-year-olds, published by Bloomsbury, and that's popular in the UK. But it's not really published in the US yet. I'm going to publish it in the US in the autumn, or the fall, as you would say.
We would call it the fall, yes.
Yeah.
How different our cultures are, right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I know there's so many words. There's like, yeah, it's a lot of words.
we just make stuff up.
So do we.
So,
and then I've got my 3 that came out this year, which are my pocket full of drama.
okay.
And I had this idea about 2 years ago, and I've been working on it for 2 years. Like, I've released 3 books in 4 months, and people are like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have been working on this for
But it's
2
all the
years."
work that goes in prior to that, right? Yeah.
Because I had this idea, because when I was a drama teacher and freelancing, you know, sometimes we just suddenly need some ideas quickly. Like, I'd be on the tube train, which I think is your metro train in London, and I'd be like, "Oh, I need some more content for my lesson," and I'd be like closing my eyes and trying to think of something, and like, and just these little books, they're called Pocketful because I like the idea of people putting them in their pocket, although it probably won't
Yeah.
quite be in your pocket, maybe like your bag, and and they can just pull it open and say, "Oh, look, there's an idea, there's something I can use." And even for non-drama teachers, like, if you've just got 10 minutes to fill, you can just quickly open the book and go, "Oh yeah, I'm going to play that one." So I've got 3 of those at the moment.
Awesome. I like that. Okay. So are those, you said they're not published in the States yet? Can you get them
Look,
on
they
Amazon?
are.
Those
They
3 are.
very much are published in the States.
Okay, so we can
And
get those on Amazon. Like,
you
we can go
can.
find, or is the best place to go somewhere else?
It's not. It's Amazon, I'm afraid.
Amazon works best. Okay, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so Amazon, and your name's in right below you there, so hopefully folks can go look for it. It's called. So give us one that it's pocket full of.
So we've got drama. Oh my goodness! Look, I can show you. I've got acting games for improv. Ta-da!
I like.
And
Okay. Yep.
I've got drama games for early years.
Okay.
4 to 7-year-olds.
See, this is good. Now they're seeing the cover, so they know what to look for. This is good. Okay.
And this is my new one that came out 2 days ago.
This is the new one, yes.
Acting exercises for creative writing.
And this just came out like really recently, right?
Just 2 days ago.
Just 2 days ago. Well, congrats.
Like, I don't have favorites, but
all right, well, we're gonna dive into that one, I think, in our team talk, because I'm gonna have you share at least 1 or 2 of those exercises. We're gonna get into it, but first, I'm gonna take us completely off track, if that's okay, because you piqued my interest, and I think some folks in our audience will enjoy going down this route. On the novel side of thing, you said you have and I think you referred to it as an agent that is trying to sell it. Can you give us like a little insight into that world of like, okay, I have this idea, because we have a lot of writers in our community, and I think there's quite a few that I've at least talked to or heard of that have talked about like wanting to write novels. Now we have a little bit of experience with a couple books writing, but those are nonfiction, teacher education books. That's a different ball game, I think, than trying to do novel. What's the process for you when you're writing a novel like that and then trying to get it sold? And what does that mean? Like, would you say that she's trying to sell it like to a publisher, or can you kind of give us an insight into that?
Yeah. So this is
I love the deep breath of the journey it's been. I can feel it.
It's been a journey. It's a journey for everyone I know. It's just like, so the journey started probably 10 years ago, and you start out all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and like, I'm gonna write a novel, and then you just like write the first 3 chapters and it's great, and then the whole thing falls apart, and then you realize it's rubbish, and then like you show a few poor friends and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's got promise." Anyway, and then you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to learn the craft." So I just bought a ton of craft books. Like, I loved Story by Robert McKee, Save the Cat, like loads of these kind of things, and I just learned the craft for like 8 years. And then I finished a proper novel, and I was like, right, this actually does look like a novel now. Woohoo! Tried to get an agent. It's so hard. It's like I think it depends on the agency. It's like a 1 in 5,000, possibly 1 in 10,000, depending on the agency. I mean, they get hundreds of queries every day, and they can only take on a new client like once or twice a year. So it's horribly competitive. And my first novel was Under Glass, and this was about 3-4 years ago. And I wrote out to all the agents, and they were all like, "Oh yeah, it's like good, but we don't. Our list is full." And I didn't get one. And so I was going to shelve it. And then my husband was like, what a waste. Like, it's actually like a really good novel. Why don't you put it online? And I was like, oh. Anyway, I put it on Wattpad. And it went viral in like 3 months. It got 350,000
Wow.
Wattpad reads, which isn't quite real reads. You've got to be careful with Wattpad, but it was still tens of thousands of real reads. So yeah, it went viral. And so then I wrote back to all the agents and said, hello, you rejected me. But I'm currently going viral on Wattpad, at which point I got the pick of any agent I wanted. They were all
Wow.
like,
That's
yes, please, we want to represent. In
well,
fact, my
yeah, you proved it, right? You proved that it worked and that it was worthy. That's well, good
yeah,
for you. I'm glad that you put it online, that you didn't just shelve it. That's good.
yeah,
High
yeah.
five to your husband for that.
Yeah, I know, yeah. And so, but then they struggled to publish it because all the publishers were like, well, you've already self-published it on Wattpad.
So
And then
so your agent then is their role is to try and get a publisher to publish it, correct? That's what
exactly,
okay.
yeah. And then
I'm
they
just trying
actually
I'm under
sold,
understanding the business side of it is where my
yeah,
mind's going. So gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
And they sold the film and TV rights
Okay.
to like the ex-head of Warner Brothers, which was like quite a big deal. And then it all went into, it was starting to go into development, and then COVID hit, and then and anyway.
So it was
Um,
gonna be a movie, but then it got axed due to COVID.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then my agent at
jeez.
that agency actually got fired and all her clients got dropped. So I had to find another agent. So I found another agent at the end of last year, and yeah, I'm really, really happy with her. And she was at the London Book Fair last week, no, about 2 weeks ago. And so she like goes to like the book fairs and she like starts pitching it and starts trying to sell it. And yeah, so if you want to get something like traditionally published, you have to get
An
an
agent
agent and then
who can
they
get
sell
in the
it to
door.
editors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, which is
Um,
similar, I believe that's very similar to how it is here in the States too. It's the same type of stuff, but they're probably
Yeah,
all
my original
connected.
agent was from the
I was
States,
gonna say,
actually.
yeah, they're probably all connected in
Yeah.
different ways anyway. So then if she is unable to get it published by traditional, then you'll put it up yourself, I would think, or
I don't
you
know.
don't. Oh, you have to share it out. You already
Oh.
people love you already. I mean, put it on Amazon. It's free to put it on Kindle or like on KDP, free.
The thing is, right, like with nonfiction, like the drama teaching books,
Yeah.
it's quite easy to know if like they're good or not. Because like I can pick this up and be like, yeah, that's really helpful. I would have liked that when I was a teacher.
Sure.
But fiction, you like pick it up and you're like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Da, da,
Takes
da,
a little
da,
more to
da.
get into it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I still think you should publish it no matter what, but I'm gonna leave my opinion there. We'll start there. So
Thank
that's
you for your faith, Jeff.
I have faith in you, and sounds like your husband does too, which is I think you do that again. But anyway, I hopefully it doesn't matter, and you get picked up, and she gets it sold and stuff, and that's awesome. That's a crazy journey. And I love that. I love that you went back to everyone after going viral, because a lot of people still wouldn't, even with that. They would have been like, yeah, but they already told me no. You know what I mean? But your resilience to say, you know what, it doesn't. They told me no, but they didn't know this yet, so I'm taking back some more facts to them and going after. So I love that kind of getting back up and going after. That's awesome. Okay, so I want to dive now into your latest book. I want to share a couple things. So I'm going to play a little commercial. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of your acting exercises. Cool. All right. Welcome back. I am with Sam Marsden here, and we were talking about all kinds of stuff, but I want to get into now in our team talk. Our goal for this segment of the show is always to give everyone watching just a little something that they can take into the day, something that they can put into practice or use somewhere in their day. So I think it's just makes complete sense. Your latest book, which is Acting Exercises for Creative Writing, makes sense. So I'm hoping that we can maybe grab one or two of those exercises, and that's something that hopefully you can explain to us now that maybe we can try to attempt when it comes into the creative writing process. So what do you have for us? I know I'm gonna out you and let everyone know that you had to pick up the book. Because I think one of my favorite things about, so I had this happen. So when we wrote our book, Teach Better, right? We gave it to a bunch of family members, and it was like, I don't know, 3 months later, and my wife's uncle had done like a deep dive, like books that he had like sticky notes all throughout the book. Like he really like dug into it. And I really appreciate it. And he's like, yeah, in chapter 2, when you guys were talking, he starts talking like, I don't know. I don't know what chapter 2 is. Cause people who haven't, if you haven't written a book before, a lot of times like you get done writing a book and it's months and months and months before it ever publishes. And you're like, I forget what I wrote. Does that happen to you too?
All the time.
Because I was like, can you give us exercise? And you're like, I got to look at the book.
Like, and it doesn't make any sense because like I've read this thing like 7 times. And so it's like, how can I not remember what's in it? Like,
but so much of the time, like between when you're done writing and when it publishes, like doesn't have as much to do with the writing and the content, right? You're working on the format of it, the design of the cover, all those types of things, and you're editing, but you're not really into the thing. So it makes complete sense. But I thought it was funny because I've had the same thing. So, but you got the book, so we're good. What is a can you give us? Let's start with one. Can you give us an act and exercise for creative writing and what we can kind of pull out of that book?
yeah. So something I really like. So I think it's particularly good for kind of children. So any
Okay.
kind of kids kind of 8 through to kind of teenagers. Because I find that their imaginations get triggered when they're up on their feet and they're doing something. And often if you like say to kids, oh, like sit down at your desk and write a story, they're like, "Zzz," and they can't do it. But if you get them to do something active first, like it just opens something in their minds. So in this book, I have QR codes to Spotify playlists. I prefer Spotify actually.
I kind of like Spotify. That just might be a thing.
Yeah. And where is it? Yeah, look. So I've got like a QR code.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you can do is like you get your phone and then you get this Spotify playlist and it has like lots of kind of filmic soundtracks on there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Lots of Hans Zimmer and John Williams and that kind of thing. And you ask all the students to lie down on the floor or just to sit down at their desk and close their eyes. And you ask them to close their eyes and they can listen to the music for about 30 seconds. And you ask them to imagine a world inspired by this music and imagine that they're a character in this world. So it could be anything. It could be somebody lost in a forest looking for a magical key, or it could be somebody in the snow who's freezing cold and trying to get out. It could be any kind of world that they want. And I always say to them, look, it's okay if it's already a fictional world that you know, like you can kind of be inspired by that because sometimes they get blocked. They might have like the idea of going through a wardrobe and then they go, oh, but I can't do that because it's already been done. And I go, it's okay, just make it your own. Like if you've got a starting point, that's okay. Anyway, and you ask them to lie down and you can ask them then to stand up and walk around imagining that there's someone else in this world. And you can give them ideas into portals into another world, like down a rabbit hole or a phone booth or under the bed, or you're walking into a painting or you're looking through a telescope. Like you can give them ideas or you can let them be free. And you play the different music. So I'm normally like 5 or 6 different pieces of music would work.
Okay.
And once they've had their 5-minute kind of time with the music and imagining these characters, you can then sit them down and ask them to write down that story. And you might find just something will be triggered in them through the movement. So that's a slightly unstructured activity.
Yeah, but I love using the music to like, because so much of when we think about films and filmography, it's the music changes so many aspects of the show that we're watching or the movie or whatever to trigger that into the creative process is awesome. I love that. As a music guy, I really like that.
It's how I write. Like, if I don't have any ideas, I'll just put my big headphones on, close my eyes, and listen to some Hans Zimmer. And then within like 3 minutes, like the idea for the scene comes, and I'm like, oh, great. And I have lots of writer friends, and we all have our writing playlists. But music with words doesn't work for some reason, and I know this for many people. If it has words, if it has singing, you get distracted by their words, and you need to fill with your own words. Yeah. but a more structured one.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's a great one. I love that. I have well, one I know Ray who is going to be jealous that she wasn't on the show. Like she would eat that one up.
Oh,
She
good.
loves using the different senses to trigger other things is like such a big
Mm.
a part
Yeah,
of a
there's
lot of what we
loads
do
of
work
sense
with.
stimuli on here.
Yeah.
I think I've got like ones where you have to like imagine smell and then sight and then
Yeah, I
hearing.
love it.
Creative writing, one of the main ways you can draw your reader in is through the senses.
Yes.
Not just sight, but taste, touch, smell in particular. Smells are really trigger, like you can take people to a world quite quickly with smell. So yeah, there's a lot of sensory stimuli stuff to encourage students to use that in their
Okay.
creative writing.
Okay, you were going into another one, a more structured one.
Oh yeah, so
Yes.
story circle, kids love this one. I've been playing this one for like years. So you get a bag of props from your house. These are random objects from your house. It can be anything. It can be a wooden spoon, it can be a candle, it can be a watch. You want like 10 or 15 random objects from your house. A pair of headphones, a hairbrush, a perfume, like anything just random objects. And you take them to class, and then you put all your objects in the center of a circle, and you ask the students either to sit on the floor or on chairs in a circle around your objects. And then you're going to explain that each of these objects have a story. And the students can create any story they want from one of these objects. And they're going to walk into the center of the circle in character. So you ask them not to do it as themselves, they're going to do it in character. And you find that this actually makes them more confident. If they do it as themselves, they feel a bit like intimidated. But if they've got like, the cloak of a character on, they might really go for it. So you can say there can be any character they want. They can be an air hostess, or what do you say, air host? Would you say air steward? I don't know what you say.
Flight attendant usually.
Oh, flight attendant. That was a
Or
good
some
TV
people might still
series.
refer to them as like a stewardess. I think stewardess maybe is a little, yeah, but usually flight attendant. What do
Flight
you call it?
attendant.
You call it a what? An air
I don't even know what I call it. An air hostess, I think.
air hostess. Okay, I actually like that better, I think.
Yeah, I think that might be really old-fashioned English. Like, I'm not even sure if people of the next generation say that. I think that might be like a me being old
That's
thing.
well, I'd be curious whether anyone who is an air hostess would refer to themselves that way.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
try
know.
that next time I fly. I need to take note. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. So they can be any character they want. I threw you off track there. Sorry.
Yeah,
Uh,
and, like, for example, so you might be like a wicked witch, and I normally do like 1 or 2 examples just to like get everybody in the mood.
mhm.
And I think one of the most important things as being a drama teacher is like making an idiot of yourself. So then everyone's like, well, at least it won't be as bad as that.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'll go in and be like a wicked witch, and you might like pick the candle up, and you could say something like, when I light this flame, I can change the seasons. And then you could like light the flame and say, it's turned to spring. Or you can make up any story you like. And I always say to students, a 1-sentence story is fine, because I'd rather they just got up and just did something tiny. Like they could even just do something so simple, like just pick up the book and say, this is a book my granddad gave me, and then sit back down again. That's enough, and that's fine. And then you might get other students who go up and then pick up an object and create a whole 5-minute novel that's like publishable and is incredible. And I'm sat there like, oh my goodness, their imagination is amazing. So I always try and explain like little or big is fine. Like everything's welcome and all ideas are welcome.
Now, so then when you do the circle, do they then go sit and write, or is this purely just to get their creativity
Yeah.
flowing before like another prompt?
So then what I would say is, so everybody who wants a turn has a go, and I try and encourage everyone, but never force, because there will be some people who really don't want to go, and I don't want to force anyone into doing that. So yeah, let everybody have a go, and then get them back down with their pens and paper, sat down. And then I would actually say that it's okay for them to write a short story from their idea or inspired by somebody else's, because they might have been inspired by one of their friends who did an idea that they thought was really cool, and then they might have some ideas how to build on that and how to go on that. So yeah, they can go and sit down and see if they've been inspired, and they may well have had an idea that they felt too shy to do in front of the class, but actually when they're sat down in privacy with their pen and their paper, they'll be like, woohoo, and off they go.
That's so cool. Oh, that's awesome. All right, I love it. Two good ideas there. Now, this book, I think I already asked you, but I'm confirmed. This book is on Amazon, correct?
That's right.
Can you hold it up again so everyone can see the that's what you're looking for on Amazon, because there's a whole bunch more of these writing these exercises and things that you can use. I really appreciate you sharing a couple with us. That's awesome. I hope if you are watching right now or if you're listening on the podcast, it is at Pocket Full of Drama. That's how you can find Sam on social media. That's on Instagram.
Yep.
And then I think there's a link there for all your other stuff. But it's what's your website? Is it sammarsden.com?
Yeah, but it's the wrong way around because they didn't have my one. So it's Marsden Sam.
Marsden Sam, MarsdenSam.com. Awesome. But just go to the Instagram and you'll find her there. And hopefully you connect with her. I didn't ask for permission, but I'm gonna tell you, reach out to her. I'm sure she'd connect with you and chat with you. But this is awesome. I love this. I love the takeaways. Super excited for this. I appreciate you coming on, giving us some of your time in the middle of the afternoon, apparently. Can I ask? Sorry, I'm going off topic. Like, I know you're in France now, but you're from London. So like, is it time for tea? Is that a thing? Or is that like a stereotype that isn't actually a thing anymore?
What's tea? So when you say tea, okay. So my
Oh,
mum
gosh.
would say
Probably not the same thing. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no, it's really confusing. So my mum would say tea, as in it's tea time, as in dinner time. But then, like,
Well, it's
some of
like
my
dinner
friends
time.
yeah, she'd say tea for dinner. Like, it's tea time, as in, like, it's
Okay.
dinner time, like, your meal. But then some
Okay.
of my friends would say tea time, as in, like, let's have a tea and scone.
Yeah,
And then
that's how I picture it. It was like a
yeah.
time in between like your lunch and dinner that you'd have some tea.
No,
Tea
like a
and
cup do you mean a cup of tea?
yeah, like a cup of tea and biscuits or
Yeah.
something. I don't know, whatever you would like a snack almost
In
sense. But
France, they're very strict. You're not allowed to snack in France. It's terrible.
you can't snack in France
Unless you're under 7 years old.
unless you're. Is that seriously a thing? Unless that's like it's
Kind
like
of,
frowned
yeah.
upon if you
So it's French culture that you
to
don't
not
snack.
snack.
You have
Huh.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and no
Wow.
French adult that I know has a snack. Now, I love my mid-afternoon snack,
See,
and
you close the drapes and do it in private so no one sees you. So that's like the complete opposite of the United States. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to snack all the time,
I
which,
know, yeah.
I don't know that that's a good thing, but
It means you
interesting.
can't buy snacks, and the restaurants just aren't even open. So, like, everyone eats at 12:30, and that's that. This
And
might
then
just be
do they
global
like
France. It's
close
probably
for
not
the next
Paris.
few hours before they open up?
Yeah, and they don't open till 7 here. Like, if you wanna eat at 5:30, which I like doing, nope. It's like 7 o'clock, and that's that.
That's when you have your tea and biscuits or something, or tea and
Mm,
then like a cup of tea and some sort of snack. That's like your excuse where you're like, I'm not having a snack, I'm having tea.
yeah. I mean,
And I
we're
just
snack in
happen to
the
have a
UK,
cookie
we have
with
our
my
bit of
tea.
cake and we have our cup of tea at 4 o'clock, and that's that, but no, and out here, the children are allowed it, and it's called goûter.
It's
Goûter.
called what is
Goûter.
it?
It's a
Goûter? Okay.
goûter, and that's the children are allowed, like, a drink and a healthy snack at, like,
Okay.
3:30, 4 o'clock. And,
Did you
like,
say
I've got
half 3?
about 3:30, four
It's just the way you
o'clock.
said that, like I was sorry. Sam and I are just gonna go off now, just talking about the differences between how we speak because we were doing that before we got on. So if you're still with us, like just enjoy it. So you said just the way you said half 3, like we don't say that.
Would
We'd
you
say like
3:30?
we might someone might say half past 3. I think typically you're gonna say 3:30.
Yep, 3:30.
I just like you
Mhm.
said half 3. I just I enjoyed
Well,
our
actually, in France, they do 15 o'clock, so you would do like
oh
15, like
yeah, you do
24.
military time. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, that's all
Military
right.
time?
That's what we call it here is military time. So
I wasn't in the
when you don't
military.
reset, so like most people go, 1 through 12 and then continue to start with 1 again. In military time, you keep going 13, 14. So, but that most people in the States don't, unless you were in the military. Then a lot of the obviously them. My son really loves it, so he always talks in military time just because he likes it. So, but interesting. Now, last question, and then I am going to let you go. Do you speak French? Did you
Yes.
prior to moving, or have
No.
you learned since then? Okay.
Well, hang on.
Wow.
Which means how do we define speak French? Like, I can hold a conversation for a few hours, but it depends on the
I'd say that's speaking French. Like,
yeah, but it depends on the conversation.
so you're conversational, but maybe not completely fluid.
No,
Is that
it's like there's some topics that I'm just, like, blind to, and
gotcha?
then there's,
Okay.
like, some
Yeah.
topics I can do and some
But
topics I can't.
but you didn't speak French when you moved there.
No.
That's gutsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's quite international. We live in this like town. It's beautiful. If you want to
yeah.
look, it's called Sala Le Canada. I think it's the third most visited place in France. It's
What's it
beautiful.
called?
Actually, I keep saying Sala because they don't pronounce their T, but it's Sarlat Le
Okay.
Canada. If you put it
La
into Google, you'll
Canada.
see it. It's super pretty. And it's where they filmed the film Ever After with Drew Barrymore.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay.
it's all like castles and medieval towns, and it's just pretty, pretty, pretty. And
Is
about
that
half the
where?
people here are international. So we do have quite a lot of
Gotcha.
people
Okay.
from America who live here, UK, Dutch, Germany, all sorts of people live here,
So
which I like.
a lot of English speaking then, I would assume.
There are,
Like
there
that?
are.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense. Is that where Canada gets its name?
Oh,
Is the French settled Canada, right? Like, isn't
yeah,
that
yeah. There's so quite a few
well,
people
maybe
here
they named
actually
it
who
after
moved
that.
to Canada.
Interesting.
And then we get quite a lot of people from Canada. I don't know where. Yeah.
We're digging into stuff that we don't know how to talk about, so all right, I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you watch it, or if you're listening, you've had a good time here. Reach out to Sam, get connected with her, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Sam, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I
See you.
appreciate you too. Bye-bye.
All right.
Hey, Teach Better community. Thank you so much for joining the Teach Better Today morning show every single weekday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We have so many resources for you outside of this live stream at teachbetter.com, including blogs, podcasts, and professional development that will bring our team to your school. Wherever you are listening from this morning, please make sure you are sharing and celebrating the incredible educators in this world. And hey, if you are listening over on a podcast to Teach Better Talk, we would love a 5-star review. The comments are always so entertaining. We'll see you tomorrow.